Right, so just want to welcome everyone along this afternoon to our Find Your Future panel event on business and finance employer session this afternoon. So my name's Leslie Wilson. I'm the placements manager within the career service. And just before we start introducing our panelists that are here today, we'll just do some basic housekeeping for the session. So as you'll see, the session's now being recorded, and that will be available on the Career Service YouTube channel to watch again at a later date. I think we have some people with cameras off, and if we can encourage you just to keep those on mute during the session, that would be great. But if you do want to ask questions, then feel free to either keep your camera on through the session, but particularly kind of when you are asking those questions. Everyone's been automatically muted as they've come into the session, but there will be the opportunity to ask panelists questions. You can either do this by typing your question into the chat box, and we'll then relay that on, or by clicking the raise hand function in the reactions tab. You can then obviously lower that hand button once you have asked your question to our speakers. So a brief running order for today is just on our next slide. So before I ask them to introduce yourselves here today, we have Rupert from Hargreaves Lansdown, we have Elisa from Johnston, Carmichael, Gita from Mizuho, and we have James from Hamilton Barnes Associates Limited. I'm just going to quickly change over and share some slides and then hand over to Rupert. So thank you very much for joining us. We hope that you enjoy the session today and have lots of questions to ask. So I will stop sharing there and quickly swap over. To your slides, Rupert. And off you go. Can you just come off mute? Sorry, Rupert, you've just stayed on, you've gone back onto mute there.
Perfect. So, yeah. Oh, can you hear me now? Perfect. So yeah, my name's Rupert. I work at Hargreaves Lansdown. And I'm going to just talk to you a little bit about what our company is, what we do, and my time and my journey at Hargreaves Lansdown so far. So if you just skip to the next slide, please. So we are the UK's #1 investment platform, and we help our clients save time, tax, and money on their investments. And today we are trusted with more than £120 billion by more than 1.6 million clients. It's worth noting that we are a FTSE 100 company. We're located in the city centre of Bristol, down by the harbour side, and we actually employ close to 2,000 people now. During the pandemic, we actually recruited nearly 300 people, and we're continuing to recruit as time goes on at the moment. We also have another office over in Poland and Warsaw, which is our tech office. It's much smaller than this one, and unless you work in the tech departments, you don't have too much day-to-day interface with people in that area of the business. But it is worth noting we do have that other branch. So our company is to empower people. Our purpose is to empower people to save and invest with confidence, and we aim to be the UK's most client-obsessed company. So if you could skip to the next slide, please. So just to talk a little bit about the scheme, we offer a 2-year rotational graduate scheme where you do up to 8 business-wide rotations. You get to go across all different areas of the business, and no graduate journey is the same. So we typically only recruit a small number of graduates because what we offer is bespoke graduate scheme. So you'll start in the same place, and then from there you'll rotate around to different parts of the business that interest you or where your skills might lie. So to give you an example, I started on the help desk. I learned all about HL, our clients, and products, services, and then I moved off into a different area of the business. And I started on the help desk with my colleague who was also new to the business. We did that 3-month rotation, and he's moved off in a different direction to me. So alongside the graduate scheme, you get to study for a level 4 diploma in regulated financial planning. It's an entry-level qualification to finance in general, that gives you a really good broad spectrum introduction to the industry, different products and services available, and like conducts of business that we have to comply with. And because with our grad scheme, we don't require you to have a background in financial services or have to have done a degree in finance, accounting, or economics. What we look for is that you have a 2-2 in any degree discipline, and that can be from any university. So what we really want is people to come from a different, diverse background and to have lots of transferable skills that will be able to help them be successful on the grad scheme and then help the business drive towards its goals. So if you go to the next slide, please. So just to emphasize like that point of that we're not looking for people with a finance background. I myself did a degree in sport and exercise science. I then went to pursue a career in sport and healthcare. After a few years, I decided that wasn't for me, it wasn't working anymore. So I switched to Hargreaves Lansdown and came to work in financial services. So as I said earlier, I started on the investment help desk. And then from there, I moved into product management, working in active savings, which is the cash savings platform part of the business. I worked on an agile squad there, and we looked at the different ways for active savings and opportunities for it to integrate with the rest of the business. From there, I moved into our external relations department, and that sits within marketing. And I project managed a project called 5 to Thrive. I did the first phase of that, and that's about bringing like the five basic pillars of financial advice into easy to understand content for our clients and non-clients to be able to help improve their financial resilience. And then from there, I've moved into conduct and client service, where now I'm doing a lot of work around vulnerable clients and helping to improve and make more robust our procedures and policies around that. It's quite an important piece of work. It's a hot topic for the FCA at the moment as well, and it's a really good experience for myself. From there, I'll be moving on to work in marketing again, where I'm going to do like a more traditional type of marketing that you think of, like emailing clients with targeted campaigns and different things like that. Alongside, it's also worth mentioning, alongside the rotations that you do, you also get to work with some of the other graduates on side projects. So we did a side project in risk, and we also did a side project in proposition. The one in risk was looking at how we can make our help desk consultants more aware of like their risk, like their responsibilities towards risk and what it means to them. And the one in proposition was looking at, it was a project on loyalty, value, and pricing. And that was also really interesting, a really big, important piece of area for the business. So that's me, and that's my journey at HL. So I'll be happy to pitch any questions at the end.
Thanks very much, Rupert. I'll pass on to Elisa now and let you share your slides and get going.
Thank you. Yes, I will. I'll just put them up. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Elisa Henderson, and I am Head of Early Careers at Johnston Carmichael. And Johnston Carmichael are the largest independent firm of chartered accountants and business advisors in Scotland. And you can see that we have 13 locations across the UK, predominantly in Scotland, but we also have a London office as well. And we're very interested in recruiting university graduates into our firm in 2022. The firm is a full service firm. We're about 850 strong. And our services range from business advisory, which is working with clients to produce their sets of accounts, advise them on VAT and particular business taxes, through to audit, which is verifying the financial statements are show a true and fair view, right through to taxation services, whether that's personal client taxation services, corporate taxes, innovation taxes, international taxes, and other services as well, such as restructuring, corporate finance, and consulting. And we are looking for graduates in business advisory, audit, tax, and consulting. And as well as those services that we're offering as an accountancy firm, we also have a number of areas of expertise, and they are listed here. So we have people working on charities, construction and property, for instance, or rural. So I've been speaking to a number of our recent graduates in the last week or so. Had somebody working on a independent school in Edinburgh, somebody else working on a nursery in Aberdeen, speaking to people working with farmers and producing their accounts, and fishermen with trawlers, right through to very, very large corporations, pension funds, and private finance initiatives as well. And you can see there we have over 16,000 clients, and that means that the range and exposure to different clients during your time with us as a graduate is really wide, and it makes it an incredible training scheme to go through. What we're looking for is about 50 graduates to join us across business advisory, tax and audit, and you would undertake a 3-year training period with us. And whilst you undertake that training period, you would be also working towards a professional qualification, and that might be ACCA or another accountancy body such as ICAS, or it may be AAT as well. So what we're doing is not only are you working and getting paid for that, but you're also completing your professional qualifications as well. Just like Rupert there, actually, we're closing our applications on the 12th of November, and we're hoping to have interviews face-to-face the 29th of December onwards. Those are going to be happening in Scotland, and we'll be asking you after, if you were shortlisted and invited for interviews, to produce a presentation and to complete a short task for us as well. So those are the graduate positions. We have a few available starting in January 2022 if you were already graduated, or in July 2022 if you were in your final year of university. We also offer industrial placement opportunities, and you are welcome to reach out to me direct if you would like to know more about those too. And I will stop sharing there. Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks very much, Lisa. I'll just pass on to Geeta now.
Afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the virtual careers fair. My name is Geeta, and I work for the Information Risk Department at Mizuho International. I've been with the company just shy of 10 years now. And unlike the others, I don't have any slides, so I'm just going to speak to you about the opportunities that are available and what my journeys look like. So just a little bit of blurb about what Mizuho International is, because a lot of people may not have heard about the company, but we are a London-based securities and investment banking arm of the wider Mizuho financial group. And have a primary focus wholly on a range of services which include sales and trading in both debt, equity securities and underwriting of new issues, and M&A advisory services. We're obviously a regulated service from the PRA, so the Prudential Regulatory Authority, and the Financial Conduct Authority. I personally, as I said, I've been working for the company about 10 years now. My journey started as project management, and within project management, and I've grown into the cybersecurity space, which is very dynamic, exciting, wide range of projects. And it's been a real eye-opener in terms of the people that I've met and the opportunities that I've given. My department as a whole, we obviously deal with cybersecurity, the GDPR data management side of things, operational resilience, which is around how we make sure our company stays up and running when there's a wider issue, and ensuring that we've got the correct processes and policies in place. What we're doing as part of our graduate scheme, we've got, like the others, we are opening our applications and inviting people to apply online to HR. And there's a variety of areas that you can join us on. The deadline is, as I said, the 12th of November. We're looking for keen individuals in the areas of operations, finance, sustainability, ISD, which is also known as IT, HR, legal and compliance, DCM, ECM, and GMK, which we're looking at. So you might be asking me in terms of, you know, what do we get? How do you apply? So as I said, you apply online for that. There will be, because of the current climate we're in, they're all going to be done, if successful, via a virtual assessment centre, being held over Zoom at the beginning of December, and then offers will be extended out in January. So that's essentially what we're looking for. In terms of experience, your background, if you want to try and apply, we welcome applications from any candidates, any degree discipline. Obviously, if you're applying to IT, information systems, if you've got a background in computer science or any of the roles within information security itself, like maths, economics, or finance, they'll be warmly accepted. All of our roles are London-based, but there are opportunities outside of the UK. We are a global company, so there are some graduate opportunities available in our Frankfurt office as well. We do look for a strong academic background, but we will consider mitigating circumstances, so we kind of look for a 2-1 or above in that space. So that's it from me, and I hope hopefully that's given you a good overview. There's more details on our website. I'm also on LinkedIn. If anyone has any questions, they can just fire them across. So my name's Geeta Sriskantan, and a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you very much, Geeta. I'll pass on finally to James from Hamilton Barnes as well.
Great, thank you. I'm just going to share my screen now. Perfect. So slightly different to the speakers before me, Hamilton Barnes are a recruitment company. We specialise in the network engineering space, so we provide the talent that powers the internet. A number of our customers are within the finance space. There's a lot of synergy of the companies we're speaking alongside today. As a business, we've been operating just over 7 years now. We've got a presence in the UK, EMEA, APAC, and more recently in the USA. That's me in our first ever office back 7 years ago. I've been with the business, I'll go into more detail shortly, for 7 years, but we've grown from 4 people in 2015 to now having 60 heads in our London office, and that's been 100% growth headcount wise over the last 12 months. The plan is by May 2023 to be up to 100 people. As a company, we only recruit for trainee consultants, so we never take on any recruiters in the business who have experience. Barring myself and the 2 co-founders, everybody in the company started as a trainee and worked their way up into leadership roles, management roles, and directorship roles. We have a very extensive training scheme, which I can share some information to go into more detail on. But the core of the role is to help source and find talent for our customer base. We work with some of the biggest hedge funds in the world, a number of the biggest finance players as well in the UK, as well as internationally, as well as other companies in the telecom sector, like, you know, names such as BT, Sky, Virgin Media. A lot of the role is kind of a sales or consultancy focused role, and that is pretty much the only role really that we'd be looking to recruit for. Why would you want to work at Hamilton Barnes? That's Hamilton Barnes Loaner, the football team we've got set up. We have quite an extensive perks for the size of the business. We have an incentive scheme, quite high earning potential for year 1 to 3, which I'll go through shortly. Clear career progression. So from day one, you'd know what's expected of you to go from being a consultant right through to an associate director in the business and owning shares in the company. And as I touched on earlier, we've got a 26-week extensive training scheme for trainees, and then that then goes on to leadership and management training provided by external providers. Earning potential, obviously, as I mentioned, is a big thing that we're asked quite frequently. As an opportunity here to be, in the first 3 to 4 years of your career, be earning north of £75,000 OTE. This is a lot more condensed than the information I'd usually give for trying to squeeze this into 5 minutes. So if anyone has any further questions, I'll be able to go through this in a lot more detail. But it is a very commission-led role. You could double, treble your salary over the next year or two. we're not looking for necessarily a particular degree or someone with a particular skill set as such. It's more the softer skills. We want someone that's coachable, eager to learn, someone who's an out of the box thinker. Ideally, someone that's looking to build a career in recruitment rather than kind of just find a new position out of university. The key traits for the people we look for are resilient, ambitious, team players, financially driven, energetic and competitive. As a business, we have 90% staff retention rate. Unheard of really in the recruitment industry. It's quite known to have quite high staff turnover, so it's something that we're really proud of, something that we've worked really hard to construct an environment where people can not just survive and thrive. That's covered there as well. So 89% of our staff get promoted in their first 6 months. There's no cap on earning potential, and the average team leader in the company has only been here for 3 years. So Antonio here on the right, he's been with the business since the beginning. Now he heads up our US offering. We've got a number of the head ofs now, in their mid-20s that are building their own kind of business within the business. And that's covered with training, extensive obviously opportunities with the wider team as well. So we offer trainee recruiters the opportunity not just for personal development but professional development. There's a lot of opportunity to grow with us as a company, and we're looking for people to be our future leaders of tomorrow. So for me, I joined the business right at the beginning. So I've had kind of a different experience to somebody coming in now. There was 3 of us in an office, smaller, slightly bigger than this meeting room that I'm in now. We're now in an office in Liverpool Street where there's 60 of us. We're looking to double that office space. So it's been a really exciting journey. I was the first permanent employee, but one of the first employees they hired. So 8 office moves later, I've been on 9 holiday incentives, had 5 promotions. I'm now an associate director in the company. My team's just outgrown 20 people. So I've got 22 people that I look after in the UK, in the Netherlands, USA and in APAC as well. It's provided me with a lot of career progression. I've got a bit of an entrepreneurial itch kind of that I wanted to scratch, and I've always wanted to have variety in my workload, and that's been provided for me from day one. And there's been a lot of support from the business with that. As I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of negative press with the recruitment industry, but we've worked tirelessly to ensure that it's an opportunity. It's a business where people come in, enjoy the work they're doing, and not just survive in the role, but really thrive and push on in their career. It's something for me I've really enjoyed, and met some great people along the way. Appreciate it's a very high level overview, a lot of the stuff I've said today. So if you want more information, go onto our Join website, which is join-hamilton-barnes.com. We're looking to hire 30 trainee consultants in the third and fourth quarter of 2022. So we're looking at delayed start dates throughout the whole of next year. We could batch probably 5 to 6 starters per month. So if anybody is looking to say take some time out before work, etc., it's something we can accommodate. So if anyone does want to find out more information, feel free to reach out via that website.
Thank you very much, Dean. James, sorry. First name's Dean. Wrong way around there. Thank you very much for stopping sharing there. So thank you very much to all our panelists for those introductions. If there's no particular questions, or sorry, if you do have any questions for the panelists, please, if you can put them in the chat. I want to start us off because I've not got anything from anyone else at the moment. But I think something I'd be interested to understand is just kind of what impact COVID, and I suppose potentially Brexit as well, has had in the past year on the business, on taking graduates and placement students into your organisation, and maybe changes that have been made to their experiences, to the experience that they'll get potentially now than kind of what previous graduates or placement students might have had with you. So no one particularly would like to start off with that chunky question.
Yeah, I'll shoot.
Thanks.
So in terms of the pandemic and the way it's changed how we work as a company as a whole and our interview process, obviously there's been pretty much 90% of people are working from home. So we've encouraged social mobility. We've helped to provide, laptops and working from home arrangements. The company are very supportive in terms of additional needs. So for example, I suffer from back trouble, and I've got a special chair that got sent home to me. So, in terms of environment and working practices, that's changed. we're now slowly moving back into the office, into a hybrid environment. In terms of the graduate schemes and the offerings, that hasn't really changed from our perspective. We're still hiring. It's just that the interview format, a lot of it is done online, including the assessment centre, as I touched on earlier, is all done on Zoom. So just having that interactive experience of being physically with someone is a bit different from being online. But I think, we've had over 20 months of this, so people are slowly getting used to this new dynamic. And I think, we may not ever move back to the whole 100% working from work per se. And people are, people have demonstrated they can work from home effectively. And, as a company, we offer flexible arrangements. So that's my 2 pennies worth on that.
Thank you very much. Elisa, has much change from your guys' side of things?
Yeah, it's actually been a very exciting time to be part of the firm, because obviously with crisis and a change in regulations and also business models as well. So for instance, I was speaking to a colleague the other day who was undertaking the audit for hotels, Trump hotels actually it was. So you can imagine that they are, their business has been impacted by the pandemic. Likewise, I was speaking to somebody else who was working on the restaurant chain 6 by Nico, which we have in Scotland. Again, having to fundamentally change their business model from in dining experience to one that is effectively takeout. So I think it's been an incredibly interesting time for everyone in terms of the nature of the work, even in those kind of compliance projects as well. So yeah, so I think it's been good, and that's felt for everybody, right from the very senior levels right down to the graduates entering our firm. Yeah.
And are your recruitment processes virtual this year, or are they in-person ones? I know you set them out in the slides.
We intend to hold them in person if we can, COVID allowing, of course. If not, then we will switch to fully online. And yeah, we've, like Gita was talking, we've been working remotely for a long time now. So that doesn't faze us if we have to, but we would really like to know our candidates on a personal level by inviting them into our offices.
Thank you very much. James or Rupert, have you got anything kind of extra to add in there, James?
Yeah, I think for us, because a lot of our work was around obviously recruiting, sourcing people new roles. We were pleasantly surprised at how things, once the first 6 months out of lockdown first happened, how things bounced back quite quickly. Obviously, for us, we've grown quite exponentially, really, in size from that. I think the process of looking for a new role, become a lot easier for people. So yeah, it really started to bounce back way more than we ever anticipated. With regards to us as a business and the day-to-day, we worked from home throughout up until probably about 3 or 4 months back, where we're near on everybody's back in the office now. We did like a survey. At the average age, I'm 29 and I'm by far one of the oldest people in the office, because obviously the level of people we hired, they're all mid to early to mid 20s. So when we did the survey, it was like 99% of people basically wanted to come back in full time. We have that flexibility where people can work from home, but for us it's predominantly, I'd say 4 days a week everybody's in the office.
I think that's what a lot of people have kind of missed, isn't it, during this last period, is that team working kind of scenario. I know within my team we've certainly kind of missed each other.
Well, we have a lot of the guys who live at home, either live at home and not have the best setup, like live at home with their parents, or they would have just moved to London and live in a 1-bed flat on their own. So as soon as we had the opportunity to come back in, I was one of those people. I live on my own. So as soon as we could come back into the office, I jumped to the opportunity. So
yeah, thank you.
So I actually joined HL after during the first lockdown. So I can only tell like secondhand stories of how like the business mobilized pretty much overnight and went remotely. But pretty much since then, for the last 2.5, same as everyone else, the majority of the business have been working remotely. But they adapted to it very quickly, because we actually had some of our busiest days on record ever during last year off the back of the US election, announcement of vaccinations and things. So the business had to adapt to that And with everyone having lots of spare time, people became investors and traders in their spare time while they're on furlough and things. So we saw big upticks in activity as a result of that too. But in terms of how it's going to look going forward, we're actually in the middle of kind of like a return to office phase at the moment. So it's not going to go back to the way it used to be. I don't think we're going to have like hybrid ways of working. So teams can do a couple of days in the office and then a couple of days from home. But we did that based on colleague surveys, and that's the vast majority of people still want to have that flexibility of being able to work from home and also be in the office a couple of days too. I'm sitting at the early stages of my career. I'm one of those people who wanted to be back in the office and jumped to get back. Obviously, I'm working from home at the moment. I'm a little bit under the weather at the moment, so I thought I'd save my colleagues any of that and stayed at home to work this week. But yeah, I think it really depends on which stage of your career. If you're established in your role and maybe you've got kids or things like that, and you don't want to go back to that commute as well as taking them back and forth to school and stuff, that working from home suits you. But for like the grads and stuff, I think being in the office is definitely where we all want to be and rubbing shoulders with people. In terms of like the intake, it hasn't affected our grad intake at all. We still recruit the same number each year, and the business has recruited like another 300 people or so since the start of the pandemic. So we haven't really seen any effect in that way.
Thank you very much. Ilse, I can pass to you for a question there.
Yeah, hi, thanks. Just great to hear that you're offering places to everyone regardless of degree, because we want that inclusivity. And I just wondered, when they actually get a job with you, do they have a mentoring system to get that? Because obviously they may never have experience working in finance or recruitment, or HR in terms of that. What do you offer to help support that graduate from day one, apart from obviously the exams? What else do you offer?
I don't mind jumping in first.
Thank you.
So I think there's a couple of things. So we have like a mentorship scheme. So the person would be accompanied to a senior member of the team who would help them, even the little things like day to day, like take them out for lunch. We do welcoming drinks, churn them around the office, keeping in touch with them on like regular check-ins as well, just for more like the soft side of things. As a business as well, like when people first start, we have like an employee loan scheme where we can help people with relocating, or it might just be getting up to speed with train tickets, and just that first few months have been having to adult a bit more. So like we help with that as well. And then from there we've got quite a large team here who have gone through similar kind of processes. So we're very forthcoming as a team. As a business, we're relatively small, and from that side, we're quite agile. So we don't necessarily have like real stringent processes in place, which I imagine a couple of the companies on here today will. We also have a mental health and wellbeing coach, Rhonda, who's on 2 days. She does every 2 weeks. She'll do 2 days. So she comes in, spends some time with everybody in the team one-to-one, gets to understand what their drivers are, but then really helps them try and build mental resilience, how to compartmentalize certain things that happen in life, and not necessarily recruitment related. I'd sit down with her today at 4:30 and might not even mention work. We just talk about what's happening in my personal life, and she's qualified in certain areas to then help with you just with mental health and general well-being, as well as a financial planner and things like that we have, other perks, etc.
Thanks for that. Anyone else, Lisa?
Thank you. Yeah, there's a number of different opportunities for supporting your professional development. So when you first join the corporation, you would get a buddy, so somebody to help you navigate those first few months with Johnston, Carmichael. You're also given a line manager who's there to act as a support and mentor for your whole degree, and they will help to support you in your professional development. But you then get the day-to-day coaching from your team leaders as well, so they'll take you through some of the tasks that you're designed to undertake. And then finally we have people like me in place, so that's helping you navigate your studies as you're working as well.
Thanks very much. Rupert or Gita, have you got anything kind of you want to talk through from that angle?
Yeah. So when you start HL on the grad scheme, you get both a mentor and a manager for the 2-year rotation. So your mentor is somebody who's previously been through the grad scheme themselves, and it's more of like a informal, they're more of an informal position. So they don't like have any kind of like management oversight over you. But if you have any issues or you need like help with just like day-to-day stuff, they're like your go-to person. And that's really useful just because they've actually been through the process, so they know, you know, a lot. They've done the exams, they've had to balance different things. And then you have your manager, who is that formal position, who oversees you for the 2 years. And then as well as that, in each rotation you go into, you'll have like a line manager, if you like, you know, specific to that area. So there's a couple of different avenues of support to you there. We also have, you know, like there is a community of grads and grad alumni at HL. So again, we lean on each other for the more informal things. If you just want to have like a bit of a whinge about like something that you're working on at the time or something, and for it not to come back to you. And then also we have things like LifeWorks, which is a HR software. So you can access things like counseling and mental health support through that. We also have a few different network groups. One of those centers around mental fitness and well-being. And then there are a few others which less to do with that, but more in terms of kind of bringing awareness to things like gender diversity, cultural diversity, and stuff like that. So I think if maybe you're looking for kind of support, more like a communal feel for like certain other things, you might find that within the network groups as well.
Thanks very much. Geeta, is there anything from Mizuho's perspective as well?
Yeah, so as a company, we're super supportive of our graduates and other new hires. If successful, you'll be assigned a buddy who will help you through the onboarding process. There's obviously, like the other companies, there's your direct line manager who offers support and will pair you up with different people on the team where there's job shadowing and other training opportunities. Once obviously the individual's hired, within the company itself, we have formal mentoring programs that they opt into or they request to join, rather than just because I really believe with mentoring especially, it needs to be a two-way process. You need to be committed to join a mentoring program rather than, you know, just being forced on it. We run, especially via our inclusion networks, there's Mission Include, 30% Club, which all offer mentoring, structured mentoring programs that, you know, are offered to all of our employees. But as I said, it's an opt-in. Like the other companies, we have a cohort alumni of ex-graduates and graduates that are in the company. They'll also have their own cohort as start group buddies. So yeah, the community, we're quite a small company, but the community is big, and we're very flat structured. So people can just approach anyone. And if they felt like, okay, this person would be good as my mentor, I don't want to go through any formal training or anything, formal mentoring program, they can just approach anybody. And, you know, people are very welcoming of it.
Great, thank you very much.
Thanks for that. I think that's really important to hear, that you support them from day one as well. It's not just chucked in at the deep end. Although, James, I was a bit disappointed you didn't mention it was dogs at work or something, because there was a picture on your slides, but that's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, Luna, yeah. Yeah, a few people brought their dogs in on other days, but yeah, Luna's, yeah, she's always here. I don't really think she likes us, though. I'm not sure. We like her more than she likes us, that's for sure.
Excellent, thank you very much. So I just had another question actually. You've all sort of mentioned graduate roles, but it's just there might be interest from our students just around if there's any other types of opportunities, maybe while still students, so whether that's summer internships, insight programs, undergraduate placement years, and just whether you offer anything along those lines as well that we could just have a quick chat through.
Yeah, we have a placement scheme at HL, which runs in between university years, your second and third year. It's almost like a mini version of the grad scheme. So you do 4 rotations across the business. We take more placement students typically than we do grads. And then you'll do like rather than having the freedom to pick whichever rotation you want, we have like set pools. So a couple of grads will be put into one pool, a couple of grads go into another pool. And then you also get to work on a project, which will be set at the start of the placement scheme. And then you present that back to the CEO and other senior leaders of the business at the end of the year. And so that's the placement scheme in a nutshell, essentially. In terms of like other internships and like holiday schemes, I don't think we offer them at this point in time. So it's just the 1-year placement scheme and then the grad scheme. But there are obviously other like roles within the business that we're recruiting for. It's constantly like changing. There's always the constant turnover and uptick in new roles being created. but mainly like if you're fresh out of university, like a lot of people go onto the help desk, and that's a good place to start. Many people within the business start on the help desk. They do maybe a year there, and then they move up the ladder to different parts of the business because there's loads of jobs or secondments being advertised internally. So there's lots of opportunity to move around and try different things. A couple of our directors at the company actually started on the help desk over 20 years ago. So it's not a bad place to start.
Thank you. I know you mentioned the graduate recruitment timelines. Is that the same for your undergraduate placements as well?
I don't think so, because because we recruit the year in advance in line with the academic year for the grad scheme. For the placement scheme, they would start. I think we start recruiting for that in the new year, because they would start at a different time. I don't have any more information on that, but I can always send you an email afterwards once I find out.
Thank you very much. Geeta, do you run anything along those lines at Mizuho?
Yes, we most definitely do. I think our biggest cohort actually is via the summer intern program for 2022. So yeah, we do offer those. And again,
on you go, sorry.
No, all the details for that again are on the website, and each role has its obviously own separate JD for that.
And are those oh sorry, I've done it again. Are those recruited to in the new year as well? Is that slightly later that you do it?
Yeah, so essentially the recruitment, application openings are there from now. So yeah, we're accepting applications now, and it follows the kind of same setup with graduates. It's like someone said, it's a mini graduate program in its own right. They offer training and exposure to different teams. Lots of talks from different departments, which is nice, because sometimes, when you're put into a particular role, you don't often hear what the bigger picture looks like. So this way you get exposure to different teams, quite senior people, and there's a lot of a buy-in from senior management. And we have a big drive to encourage our future leaders. We have another event next week, actually, on the 4th of November, to drive future bankers into our industry, which is good.
Thank you very much. Sorry for interrupting. Elisa, I know you mentioned earlier to me about placement years.
Yes. So we are delighted to get applications from students seeking a placement year, and we currently have people doing placement years in business advisory, audit and tax as well. That's just an open recruitment process, so if anyone would like to get in touch with me, they can do at studentrecruitment@jcca.co.uk, and we'd be delighted to receive those applications. We also have a number of internships live at the moment in business advisory, and if you go onto our website, which is johnstoncarmichael.com, you will see those advertised.
Thanks very much. And those internships, are they summer internships?
Correct.
Thank you very much. James, is that something you guys do?
So we're looking at the moment, we will be, not yet though, something we're mapping out at the moment. We're planning on doing placement years as of next year. So, and we are doing something at the moment for people that, if they're interested in doing like part-time work whilst at university, just helping us with some marketing, doing some outreach on social media and things like that. So they'll be what we're calling brand ambassadors for Hamilton Barnes. So if anyone's interested in hearing more about that, I can jump on a call and run through that with them. We're just finalising that. I think for us, it was, so we're quite new to this with the relationship with the universities as well. So we've learned quite a lot over the last few weeks. So we're now building out things for next year, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely great. Thank you very much. And I think a few people have mentioned different email addresses and things like that, and we'll share those contact details and the web details after the session as well, so that everyone has those